Hi, Mike DePung here, and welcome to Spirit Hill, a place for healing, a place for you to think about healing, and where I just share some of the things that I feel Spirit would have me share, that the unseens would have me share, that I want to share because of uh, the truths that I have and hold, and the wisdom that I've gained over the years. And I would like to know how you're doing. So if you never respond, if you watch these videos that I put out and you don't respond, I don't know how you're doing. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it, just because I care about you. So I would like to encourage you to do that, and not be reticent about speaking of your healing journey, a spiritual journey. And we come here to heal. And I've spoken about this before, because we know by taking this form of spirit incarnate, that ego is part of this, and ego is going to necessitate healing, but there's joy in doing that. And we have to go into the places of darkness and travel amongst the other unseen worlds to explore, to know, and then to bring it all into this experience. And that gives the purpose, the joy, that gives the reason we came here. And so I want to speak today about this very briefly, about something that came to me, that was involved in, that came out of a conversation that I had in a group that I meet with on Mondays. And it's this quote from the book of Ecclesiastes. It's written by Solomon. And the quote is very familiar to you, I'm sure. There's nothing new under the sun. In some ways, that's true if we choose to make it true. It's not necessarily true. It's true if you look at life in a very narrow way, in a wounded way, in being bound by your traumas, being told what to believe and the way we're supposed to act and be and think and do. Yeah, then you know what? There's nothing new under the sun. Now, that's true in terms of the base of who we are as spirit incarnate beings, but it doesn't have to be true unless we resign ourselves to that fact. And that led me to another quote to think about. The mass of men, of people, live lives of quiet desperation. Resignation, if you resign yourself, if we resign ourselves that there's nothing new under the sun and evil is here and we can't really change it, and everything there's fate and it's all out of our control, we have no way, why try? You just came here. I didn't choose to come here. My parents had me, and here I am, and I just have to work for the man and make some money and hope maybe I'll have a few years at the end of all of it to laugh a little bit, have some fun. Yeah, you resign yourself. Henry David Thoreau's next line from that quote is, resignation is confirmed desperation. Don't confirm desperation. If you're here and watching this, you must care. You must have come here because you saw something about healing and you care about healing. And so while in some ways there's nothing new under the sun, and we can look at the evidences for that a lot of people point to. I started watching the Holocaust, this documentary by Ken Burns. And watched the first installment of that. And you see that, and you can't help but think, even though it doesn't even mention it in there, that there are forces today that are thinking the same way. There are people and groups and some power brokers who want people to think in this certain way. And that there are people who are superior to others, that this world is one of power and control and dominance. And this world is one of controlling wealth that is defined by a bottom line that only does the one who writes the bottom line any good. So I wanted to come today and just, I don't even want to say challenge you. I wanted to offer to you this idea to think about. Is your healing journey being restricted by, confined by, and defined by what other people think of as healing. Just resign yourself to the fact that this is the way it is. That is bullshit. That is not the way it is. It only is if you choose it. However, there's something much greater you can choose. You can realize that you are spirit incarnate, that you are divinity, that I am divinity. And those who choose not to live that, they have their own healing journeys to go on, and that's their business. And it's not mine or yours or any of ours to say, oh, you must do this or you must do that. No, it's just like a choice. You want to live the reason you came here to live, then do it. Once we make that decision, then we enter into a spiritual realm. Then we realize that there are other expressions of spirit all about us. There are other worlds. I've spoken of the unseens and the unseen worlds. And we get to have fellowship, unity, connection with all of that. And I think that the time that's on us now is a time where we get to choose, and there are powerful energies that are coming in, basically saying, you got a choice to make here. We've got a choice to make here. And not a right or wrong choice, but hey, here's the offering. If you want to accept the energies that are here, then you can go a long way in this healing journey. It's one that doesn't end, and it's one that should bring us joy. And it's one every time new traumas are exposed and we get to work with it, we should, even though it hurts, and even though there are times where we're not happy in the sense of an ecstatic joy, there's still this alignment. There's still this sense that we are able, capable, that we are grounded, that we know the path we are on, a healing path. By the way, and I want to just make that very clear, there are many paths, but your path of healing is what I'm talking about, our individual ones. Now, before we go much further, I want to say that there are some who really do sell out to their own ego, and it might feel good for the current time. It might feel good for years, but ultimately, I think most people who do that come to the point where they realize they've lived a life that is a cop-out life in terms of not choosing to face their own power and accept that and receive it and do it. Where does it lie? Right before I got on here, I shuffled an oracle deck of cards that I have, the Mystical Shaman deck. And I would like to just share with you very quickly these 4 cards, because it was incredible that these are the cards that came out. The first one is the Child. Okay, see that? The Child. It makes me think about the quote from Jesus, except you become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. The great romantic writer and thinker, William Blake, looked at this state of re-entering the child, of healing the wounded child as organized. He called it organized innocence. He called childhood and the mindset and the essence of a child innocence. But then that gets taken over pretty quickly. It gets assaulted pretty quickly by experience, and that was his other state of being. There was innocence and experience, but later in life he said, hey, there's this organized experience, or organized innocence, where we understand that there is trauma, that we have been wounded, and we get to come back and to look at it and not live then in some complicated, complex way, but to live as the child, to live our inner child, and to say, screw, and in organized innocence, we would say, screw the rules and the definitions and the confining patterns that people say we have to fall into if you're going to heal. You have to do these things, and this is part of healing. And no, it's a self-discovery path. And that's what this is all about, self-discovery. You have to see it for yourself. And that's the second card that fell out. You have to see it for yourself, the ego, vision, this just, yeah, and the saying, eagle eye vision. You're there and you soar above it all and you can see and sense. And as you look at this, you realize the purpose of it. This eagle is coming down to what looks like a nest and coming back to home, coming back to the childhood. And we get to live that. If you're not living this, if you're not seeking to energize and heal the inner child, then stop listening to all the other ways and things that say, people saying that you have to grow up. No, we have to get little. We have to go back and we heal. And then sometimes our journeys are become complex, and we inherit from past generations, from our ancestors. We inherit a lot of DNA coding that forms us. The next card that I pulled was this one, the Ancient Ones. The Ancient Ones, our ancestors of the lower world, they have a wealth of knowledge to share with us. And we go there, and in our healing, we go there and we realize there are places of darkness that come from what we have inherited. We don't have to accept that anymore, because you know what? We come back to the child. And when we come back to the child, we don't know about all of that. Now, as a child with understanding now, we see it and we can accept the wisdom. We can accept what our ancestors would share with us from the lower world, and it will give us great light, and it will help us along the way. There's riches there. We honor them. We hold dearly to them. We remember them. And we, especially at this time of the year, this month coming up, Samhain, and the Day of the Dead, and the veil is thin between this middle world existence and lower world existence, between this side of the veil and the other side of the veil. The Ancient Ones are there, and they're there for us to speak to and to gain wisdom from, and they will help us in our healing journey. And the last card that fell out was this, the journey. And it is your journey. It's my journey. And in one way, it's the same journey of healing, but it will never be the same for each of us. It will be unique for each of us. And that's why no one can tell you this is the way to do it. What I can tell you is there are energies, and there is this innate divinity within us that we are, and we get to choose, and we get to say, I want this. So that's about it for today. I think this is a month that is going to be big for many of us. I continue my healing journey. You continue yours. Let's share in it together. Encourage one another. I send you, until next time, love and peace.